14 January 1965. Dearest Suzie, still no mail, but I don't blame you for that. We haven't had any mail come in for 3 days. However, I'm told that we will get a big shipment in tomorrow. I sure hope so. Today was pretty interesting. It was the first time I've actually had a chance to use my IP position. I had a brand new warrant officer today. We flew for 5 hours, and I think I did it very well as an instructor, blowing my own horn again. Then tonight, I had to take another man up for a 2-hour night check. Tomorrow, I get a new captain to teach. How are things at home? I know I don't have to ask if my boys are being good. I know they are. How's the car getting along? I hope you aren't still having trouble with it. What do the girls have to say about their necklaces? Next month is my trip to Bangkok. I'm really looking forward to going. Mainly because when I get back, I will just about be halfway through this tour. September still seems a long way off. Well, I'll close this letter for today. I just got word that I have to get up at 4:45 in the morning for a troop lift, so I'm going to bed. All my love, Bill. Though this letter is short, I feel it speaks a lot about Popi's character, and quite frankly, it makes me consider how much I'm like him. I know that a broader goal of this podcast is to talk about inheritances, about things that we are given by those who come before us. Sure, I've been given many material things from Popi in his time in Vietnam. I have his letters, diary, photos, artifacts, and even an NVA rifle. I'll talk about that later. But what else did I inherit? I've talked about his alcoholism and my family's struggles with addiction, but here we see a pretty human side to Popi. We see that he's embarrassed to mention he may have done something well by commenting that he was blowing his own horn again. Is this humility I also feel? Do we Lowies have an inability to take pride in ourselves when we do something well? Would Popi argue that being a good instructor is just part of his job and he should be good at it anyway? Also, knowing that he was an instructor to pilots as well as a drill instructor before, it reminds me of how I've become a teacher. In graduate school, to help pay for my education, I acted as a teaching assistant and associate for years, teaching numerous classes. I found myself oftentimes reluctantly admitting how much I loved to teach. It was frustrating and hard. You don't get rewarded the way you deserve to, and for the most part, people are unappreciative for the hard work you put in. But that doesn't matter. It's fulfilling anyway. You know you're actively making a difference in someone's life. I would be the first to say that the context surrounding these two things is very different. He was a pilot in a war zone, teaching other people how to fly a dangerous piece of machinery. I was a wannabe doctor at a university teaching overprivileged young adults how to talk about human sexuality and culture. At the end of the day, however, we were both sharing what we knew. We were trying to make a difference. We were getting by the best we knew how, helping others to learn. I've never really thought about Popi in this light until now, but perhaps he would have made a great teacher had he not experienced Vietnam. Of course, I say all this, and I'll hear from my dad and his brothers about how mean Popi was regarding their education. For example, I won't name names, but one of them is dyslexic, and when the school system offered to send him to a special needs school for his dyslexia in the 70s, I've been told that Popi beat him viciously for being dumb. I don't think I could get away with that in a classroom today. Not that I've ever really wanted to. The photo I chose for today depicts a soldier in his fatigues standing in front of what looks to be barracks. There are wooden buildings with metal roofs. Their walls are wood and mesh. That's likely there for ventilation while simultaneously keeping the bugs out. If you look close enough, you can see bunks lining the walls. This is a look at the soldiers every day. This is where they slept. This is where they lived. It's a personal look at something we don't often see. It may not be as exciting as a monkey or a helicopter, but it's probably more real. I'm Alex Lowy, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to this episode of Dearest Suzie, and receiving messages from the past that my Popi wrote exactly 60 years ago. I sincerely appreciate your time and interest. Please consider following the podcast on your preferred platform, and if you're enjoying it, I kindly ask that you take the time to rate the show and leave a review. Also, please follow the project on YouTube, X, and Instagram. All likes, comments, shares, and reviews will help grow the reach of this story. The links for these things should be in the description of this episode. Please feel free to email me at dearestsuziepodcast@gmail.com if you have anything you'd like to say. I'd love to chat or to hear about your stories as well. Thank you for listening, and God bless.